Snap UK podcast, your one-stop shop for all your news, views and NFL opinions on this side of the pond. And congratulations to someone for not cocking up the intro. Tonight with me at the table, I have Gary. Say hello.
Hello.
John. Say hello, John.
Hello!
John is what they call behind the glass producing this evening. Not all over the glass, that's disgusting. Jim, say hello.
Hello.
And finally, for a first appearance in quite a while, it's Fourth and Inches.
Oh, hey everyone.
And by no means was he the person I was referring to in the intro. Thanks for being mature. I say he's here live and in person. He is, but we have had to come to his house. Noticeable by everyone.
Especially because I didn't know where it was.
It didn't help, did it? No. So, now we're here at Shez Farrow. It's time to get into the week of NFL kickoff. Today on the show, we'll be talking about our fantasy football draft and how well or otherwise we think we did. Here's a hint. It's another 4 months of misery for me. We'll also be discussing what we're looking forward to the most and what we're least excited about for the forthcoming NFL season. There is quite a lot to cover in the news, so I suggest we get straight into that, and I shall throw out the first topic for discussion. The Ravens running back situation, which has taken a tumble off a cliff today with the news that Justice Hill is the second of their running backs out for the season, and that Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Foreman are being given trials today.
Is that Devonta Freeman or Deonta Foreman?
Oh, no, you're quite right, sorry. Freeman. Not Deonta Foreman, he was really rubbish.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Devonta Freeman. I suspect Bell should win that. Let's not forget, before the playoffs last year, in 6 games for the Chiefs, he was actually quite effective. He picked up nearly 300 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns.
You'd think Bell would beat him out, wouldn't you?
I mean, to be honest, it's amazing what any running back can do behind a fantastic O-line.
It does help, yeah. I mean, that O-line turned out to be less fantastic in the Super Bowl once they were all injured, but let's not mention that too often, because it wasn't at all funny.
And when you've got the best quarterback in the league at doing handoffs or hiding non-handoffs, read option, he's the best in the league at it, isn't he?
I would be surprised if Le'Veon Bell doesn't get signed by the Ravens, as long as his wage demands aren't ridiculous.
I mean, but
no then.
But we've mentioned you guys mentioned last week, he's been humbled.
We hope he's been humbled.
I'm not sure anything humbles a person like that. I just don't believe it. I'm not sure he can change who he is.
But I think the thing is, even if his character isn't great, these teams are in win now, aren't they? Especially like the Ravens, and they take a punt. If he's not that great, pay him $3.5 million, couple guaranteed. If he turns out to be an arsehole, just cut him, didn't you?
Well, there's an opportunity for him to stick it to the Steelers.
I was about to say that. It's the absolute
key motivation
to the Steelers in terms of their signing for their biggest rivals.
Yeah, I agree. I think that might be the thing. I would be surprised if he doesn't win this little tryout and get signed, because they're basically at Gus the Bus Edwards and then you, I think, Paul, might be next up.
No, Kenneth Farrow.
Kenneth Farrow, yeah.
Currently second on the depth chart is Tyson Williams. That's Tyson with an apostrophe in the middle after the
one
Y.
of those ones.
Tyson.
Definitely Tyson.
We'll go Tyson then. Tyson Williams.
It's almost like his mum's here.
So yeah, you'd expect Le'Veon Bell to kind of.
If he turns up because his dinner's ready, I'm going to be furious.
Talking about Tyson, actually, I saw apparently he's too scared to fight Holyfield. I know that's a bit left field, but I saw that in the news today.
Too scared to fight Holyfield?
Apparently so. He thinks Holyfield will now lock him out. Now he's 58.
Is he 58?
Holyfield's taken the place of Oscar De La Hoya this week or next week, because he's obviously had COVID, and they talked to him about Tyson, and apparently Tyson's too scared.
I'd also be scared to fight him.
I would be as well.
Yeah. Before we came on, we had a brief discussion about mentioning the Steelers, the contract situation with TJ Watt, which appears to be getting slightly out of hand, in that the player isn't happy and the team don't want to budge on his contract. This is key, right? The Steelers' defense is what kept them in the hunt last year when Big Ben fell off a cliff, and it's going to have to be the same again, right? Their defense needs to be a top 5 performing unit, right?
Yeah.
No, they've got Dwayne Haskins now. Everything's fine. Isn't it?
He's still third on the depth chart, though, isn't he?
He is third on the depth chart, yeah.
Also, he's third on the depth chart.
For our Irish viewers.
Yeah.
For listeners. I mean, disappointing that a player like that is perhaps not being rewarded the way he feels, but they all have massive contracts. I sometimes think, why kick up a fuss right before the start of the season?
Because he wants a new contract and he wants to hold it over the Steelers for the entire league.
Because the agent, who gets paid lots of money to tell him how to get the most money, is telling him to do that.
Yeah,
Agents get paid so much money to cause trouble.
Huge percentages.
They do, but he is in a position of power at the moment. I mean, they let Bud Dupree go in the off season. They signed Melvin Ingram, who's he's only going to be there for a year. He's old already. You need a pass rusher, a good pass rusher. Every team needs that, and he is probably the best edge rusher in the league at the moment, based on form. So he's absolutely in his rights to kind of demand a contract and to demand top wage.
What is his current contract? I have no idea.
His current base salary is $10.089 million.
Oh,
Which is like,
he needs more money.
My
though,
half
doesn't he?
leagues.
But is that still his rookie contract? I'm not sure.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if he's coming to the end of that, he's going to be wanting to get paid the highest amount for a defender in the league, and
he will get it.
probably deserves it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit.
But why does it have to be contentious? Why can it not be?
Because if it's not contentious, then the Steelers will just do what the Steelers do. The Steelers are a really good run organisation. They always have been.
So Joey Bosa's the top average earner, 27 million, and Myles Garrett 25 million. So he's quite a long way down the list.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to be wanting.
How much cap room do the Steelers have?
Not that
Matt
much.
Judon's on 13 million. Whitney Merciless.
Quality players.
With the Merciless.
Yep.
Shaq Lawson's on 10 million as well.
Well, yeah, and all these players, I would suggest TJ Watt is as good or
Actually,
better.
going into 2022, the Steelers are predicted to have about 83 million in cap
That's
space
because they're not expecting
because they're not expecting Ben Roethlisberger.
Just
to
pay
be
the
back.
man.
So yeah, I say paying because you're gonna be riding with an inexperienced or shit quarterback next
Well,
year.
until they work out
Yeah.
where the next quarterback is, they have cap space, don't
So
they?
yeah, exactly. Even if you're paying a quarterback 30 million, you've still got the space to pay him. So
it's inevitable. He will get signed.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. Why make such a big song and dance about it now when you know you're going to get signed? They're not going to let him leave.
he knows he's going to get signed, but this is just drumming it up so he gets more money. He wants it to be public. The Steelers don't want it to be public.
Imagine if you did that in your job. You'd get the biggest F off.
No, but they've got Rudolph the Red-Faced Mistake behind him, haven't they?
Do you remember that time he got beaten with his own helmet? I mean, we couldn't laugh, but it was funny. I watched it back the other day. It did make me
was
chuckle.
hilarious.
How embarrassing.
Nothing you want to see on a sports field.
No.
But you do.
But it was funny.
I do. Yeah.
I watched that, and then I also watched a little bit of an old Hard Knocks with the Texans, and it was DeAndre Hopkins against, I believe it was D'Angelo Hall, who'd been mocking him through practice, and then Hopkins put such a move on him that D'Angelo Hall bust his knee and just fell over in a heap. And if you haven't seen it, go and look it up from 2015 Hard Knocks. It was very funny. Okay, moving on from TJ Watt, let's go to another person with...
Can I just check? I know one of the things I've really liked, because I listen every week.
Good, yeah.
Because
You're supposed to be here.
John makes me.
Yeah.
As he should.
If you were the Steelers,
Yeah.
can I just get a vote? Would you pay the man?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Gary's abstaining.
Oh, yeah, it was.
He didn't
Wasn't
think.
much
He
drama
didn't think
to that vote,
no,
was there?
He didn't think it was.
No, but
worth
it's just it's interesting to see. Would you do something else if you were them? Or would
no,
you just pay
it's
the man?
inevitable, and that's why it frustrates me that they're kicking up.
Well, the trade capital's really low, isn't it? Because he's on a short contract, so it's not like you're trading him to someone and going, "This is your edge rusher for the future."
They could franchise tag and trade him.
They could, but that would be silly.
It cost a lot.
It's the same all the time. Like Joey Bosa, Donald. They all, instead of with their rookie contracts holding out in year one, they hold out in year 5.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point. I don't know. I find it one of those things that it's just an unnecessary distraction on the eve of football. Anyway, as I was saying, moving on to someone else with 2 initials for a first name, KJ Wright signs for the Raiders. He has been in the NFL top 100 free agents all off-season. He was like number 40. And this is a great signing for the Raiders. They need to improve their defense, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know why he's been out there so long. I don't know if he's a problem player, but this is a good signing for them.
Yeah, but you bought a lock for the open barn door. What's the point?
Okay.
I've missed you, Paul.
I thought it was a bigger signing than that. Clearly, I've been put in my place.
No, but it's mopping up the ocean with a sponge, isn't it? He's a great player, but he's going to a third organisation.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And at this point in the season as well. Like, you're about to start the season. He's got, a week to settle in, learn the playbook, learn the players he's playing with.
And at this point of his career, because the Seahawks didn't bring him back, did they?
No, they didn't.
He's been around a while.
Yeah, was he 29?
31.
I always ask the question of if he was that good. I don't know. I think he's a great player. He has been historically, but if he was that good, why hasn't a team signed him already?
Linebackers struggle to get past 32, 33, don't they?
He is 32, sorry.
He has complained that he couldn't believe he was on the open market for so long. I think it's a great signing for the
Same
Raiders.
thing happened with Eric Reed, though, didn't it?
Yeah, but the Raiders need leadership in their defence. I think he will provide that. I am surprised that he's been there that long.
To be fair, you're right. He's better than anyone else they've got at linebacker.
So are you.
Well, yeah.
And you can't move anymore.
I know.
I'd actually struggle to name one of their linebackers.
Naseeb?
KJ Wright?
Naseeb's at end.
Is he there? Is he?
I mean, anyone? No? Okay, moving on. T-Mobile named as the starter officially for the Texans. So Deshaun Watson will stay on the 53-man squad, but will not be the starting quarterback for the Texans. It's
An easy way to earn a lot of money.
he's going to lose a lot of money. It's the Tyrod show.
But this is Deshaun Watson with a question mark. Deshaun Watson? That's what it's going to be until something happens. And there's going to be... I don't see the point. Just do something.
I think it's a lack of leadership from the league.
It
I
is.
think it's disgraceful. The team shouldn't be put in this position.
I think it's a bit of a punishment for the Texans just for being so bad and messing things up so badly that the NFL have gone, fuck you, sort it out.
I'm not sure that's the unbiased way that people should
I would be
run
interested
organisations.
to know whether the Texans have asked the league for advice. What do you want us to do? Because if the league haven't responded and given a definitive answer, I think that's poor. But if the Texans haven't asked, I think that's on them.
Griff, that's a really sensible suggestion, and that's exactly why the Texans haven't done it, because it's a sensible suggestion.
Yeah, it is painful.
This is a company, an existence of business that made Bill O'Brien head coach and GM.
And then signed off on all those trades.
So we're going to give away our future for a left tackle. Oh, he doesn't need any other O-line.
No.
We'll just run all our plays to the left and pray for the best.
We'll give away our best wide receiver for a second-round pick and a dodgy running back.
Aren't they letting a chaplain make all the decisions as well now?
Yeah, that...
Nick?
No.
Tom?
What, they're literally just praying.
His
praying
name,
for
his
the
name
best.
has now completely escaped me.
Casario?
Yeah, Nick Casario.
No, he's actually the...
He's the GM.
He's the GM.
Oh, that feels so unprofessional.
Jack Easterby.
Jack Easterby. Christ, the name went completely out of
This
my
is
head.
such a nothing organisation. It's forgettable.
Yeah, but the problem is this organisation effectively, over a period of time, became a replacement for the much storied Houston Oilers. And they were a great organisation, really well run. Bud Adams ran that for 40 years.
Yeah.
And the Texans go through 2 or 3 years of being really competitive, like they have been with Watson, even though they've got flaws. And then they just go off a cliff, like the Lions and the Browns and teams like this. And they just go in this cycle all the time.
I don't know. I think this is the biggest cliff they've ever been off.
It does feel that way. Somebody needs to make a decision. It's an embarrassing story to carry into the season. We've moved on from these things, but we had the Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson incidents in the same season, and it was like instant justice.
Reuben Foster, Kareem
but
Hunt.
The Ray Rice was different because
Yeah,
there was
Ray Rice,
video
there was
of him
video,
doing it.
but there wasn't for Peterson.
There wasn't 20 people though, was there? Like when you go through some of these other things, I think the league should have done something.
So do I.
I think you are right.
I would hate to say that stock phrase of no smoke without fire, but even if he's done this to one person and everybody else is just tagging along, they still need to do something because you've got to set an example, if nothing else. They can apologise in the future if it turns out they were wrong, but you can't apologise to all these people if you don't stop him playing or you don't take him off a roster.
You mentioned kind of other indiscretions, shall we say, that have happened to NFL personnel. That there are others as well. You know, Robert Kraft got slapped with a fine for getting up to naughties in Miami. Tom Brady with Deflategate and Spygate. You know,
Getting up to naughties.
getting up to naughties.
You don't get any anymore, do you, Jim?
No, I don't. It seems like, very often that...
But there's levels.
I know,
There's allegedly getting wanked off in a massage park.
Yeah.
Massage
finish.
right?
It seems
And
that
there's
the
assaulting
NFL
30 women.
the NFL are quick to act on a lot of different things, but they've been really slow to act on this, and I don't understand why.
I agree with you. I want to make that clear. I agree with you
even
totally.
even things like when Zeke was being suspended, they did their own investigation alongside the official kind of police investigation. But the NFL have done nothing here, and I don't know what they're waiting for.
Well, I mean that
Maybe they're getting up to naughties.
well, I don't even know what to say, but I'm so glad you're back.
What do you think? You think Deshaun Watson might have just invited Roger Goodell over to give him a massage?
No, what I'm saying is the NFL have. I think they've bungled it.
Yeah, again, because they do. It's almost like they're too unwieldy and they just don't want to make a decision. But
I think also it's the press that comes with it. The press of not doing anything is sometimes better than the press of attacking it head on, because you get the people who will say you've done this and there hasn't been an actual formal trial yet. You get the people. Sometimes just doing nothing is better. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong, but I think that's what they're doing.
There are avenues they could go down in terms of putting him on the suspension list. It's not saying he's guilty. It's not saying he's not guilty. It's just saying let's kind of, at the moment, we don't know. We don't know what the issue is, so we're going to put you aside for a minute, let you figure that out with the legal authorities, then come back and we'll figure it out.
So just to double check so we can wrap this up and move on, because it's distasteful. If you are accused of sexually assaulting 20 plus women, the league will do nothing. But if you get wanked off in a massage parlour, you get a fine.
Absolutely. The NFL hate the Patriots.
I know which one I'm going for. Right. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Tyrod. We seem to have glazed over the fact. Do they have a hope in hell of getting some success with him as a starting quarterback?
No.
He's been a starting quarterback in some bad teams and done all right.
Yes, agreed. And
This team is worse.
None as bad as this.
This team is so bad.
this team has nothing.
If he goes to the left, he'll be fine. The entire playbook goes left.
You're saying the playbook opens the other way and all the plays are just on the left-hand
He's
page.
a left-handed quarterback.
It's true.
There's a plan.
Match made in heaven, yeah.
Exactly.
Fate.
I would love to see him succeed, but probably just not with the Texans. Okay, I wanted to have a quick talk back to the Raiders. They released Tanner Muse today. Does anyone know who he is?
I like that they wished him happy birthday and then released him on the same day. That's just spiteful.
He was a third-round pick
He was a linebacker.
last year.
Yeah.
And he didn't play last year because of, injuries and then COVID or whatever. But that's the second third-round pick in a row that's never played a snap for the Raiders. Mayock and Gruden have done nothing good for this organisation, I would suggest.
Josh Jacobs is good.
Yeah, but he's not league-defining good, is he? He's just you've landed on a running back who can catch the ball as well.
We don't know how much effort they put into helping pack everything up when they moved across the country. They might have been there putting the pads in the bags, and I've got no idea. But
what I'm
that's
getting
about
at is
it.
we discussed last week coaches that who we thought would be first fired. I don't understand how Gruden and Mayock, one or the other or both, I understand the contract situation, but I don't understand how there isn't more discussion of the fact that they are failing.
Because of that contract situation.
Yeah, but you can still talk about people failing.
Yeah, but it's hard. They're in a division with the best team of the last 3 years.
Yeah, but you can still get in the playoffs in the second
How
spot.
many people in the media does he know? How many of them
Well-
are his mate?
Yeah.
So how many of them want to go after Gruden?
No, and I think there is a lot of goodwill towards Gruden, and that's fine. Like, he's earned it in the past, but his successes are so long ago, like 20 years ago.
Is Mike McCarthy getting as much stick in the
I
US
think
as
he
he is
is.
over here?
Well, I don't know if he's getting the US, not there. But
I just wonder because he won a Super Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it buys them a lot and a lot of time.
But Mike McCarthy's Super Bowl was 8 years after Gruden. Gruden's success was so far back that I don't understand why he's still seen as this genius. But what have you seen in the last 3 years out of the Raiders that you couldn't have achieved with most coaches? Do you remember Jack Del Rio? He won like 12 games as the head coach of the Raiders.
Yeah, but
what is it? One winning season in 20 for the
Yeah, they've mainly been 8-8 or 9.
COVID has bought him another year.
Okay.
This is it.
If they don't make the playoffs this season?
Then the seat is warmer, but his contract won't get rid
I think
of it.
Gruden will say. I think Mike Mayock might be in the hot seat.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure how much say Mayock actually has.
Gruden's got all the power. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know. It frustrates me because I think the league benefits when the Raiders are a more competitive team. It's like when Ferrari aren't any good in Formula One. It takes
I'm
something
fine
away.
with that.
Yeah, but
I think comparing the Raiders to Ferrari.
I'm just saying.
That's just like a bad reference. Like maybe if you'd have gone with Hyundai or something to the radars. Just
The radars?
Well, they're just
All right,
like they were good at
Williams.
one point, but they're just
I'm going to make a comparison that might please Gary. That I think Gruden is the NFL's version of Steve Bruce.
The NFL's version of Steve Bruce. Gary, you got anything to say on that?
Well, yeah.
Gruden's won something.
Seems fair, does it? Yeah,
Yeah,
Gruden has one, but it was a
They're
long time
just
ago.
bang average.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. It frustrates me that there seems to be so little talk about their lack of success. Don't forget, Derek Carr was actually very good last year. He really was.
I think it's a difficult division.
They replaced Nelson Aguilar, their number one receiver, with John Brown, and then cut him.
There's clearly a plan.
Clearly, he
But
says.
I think COVID's brought another year for everyone involved there.
Yeah, probably.
And also, they've just moved to Las Vegas, really, haven't they?
And?
But you can't. They've built a kind of a stage show around Allegiant Stadium, John Gruden.
Face of your franchise should never be John Gruden. It needs to be your quarterback or your running back. It can't be some old guy who hasn't won anything since 2002.
Yeah.
Can't be. Terrible. What a terrible organisation.
Yeah,
And
do you know,
cue all the nodding at the table.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
If I'd put wild cheering in place,
I didn't-
if I had a soundboard.
I didn't realise how angry it made me, but it just frustrates me that it's not talked about more. Right, we're going to move on from the news unless anybody's got anything else they need to throw in. Anyone?
49ers signed Josh Norman at cornerback.
That is
Worthwhile news is what I meant.
That is
Not some
worthwhile
washed
news.
up
Do you know
cornerback.
what,
33, isn't he?
I don't mind this because it's experience in secondary. But what actually does piss me off is the fact that the four starting secondary players for the 49ers had their shirt numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now they're going to bring someone out. It's not going to match that.
So now you've brought him up then, what's happening with Richard Sherman?
Still
Nothing.
just sat there, isn't he?
It's like for like. You need somebody old who can get torched in the secondary. So Sherman's gone, you bring Norman in. That's part of the game plan.
Imagine if they both make the field at the same time. That is a slow-ass pair of cornerbacks. You get both torched on both sides of the field then. Right, moving on. I was discussing this with Paul this morning. Things we're excited about, things we're less excited about. Or as we've referred to it, Cleveland Frowns and the Woo England Yatriots. That was Paul's actual best effort this morning. Better than anything. I can't even
Is that before or after coffee?
I was taking a shit at that.
So after.
I wanted to call it the Buffalo Thrills, but, whatever. We'll go. Paul gets the final say on these things. So I
Does
asked...
it have to be from the AFC or the NFC?
It's just as far
The
as...
NFC don't have as much fun in their names.
I've got nothing. Basically, I'm going to go around the table, and John, if you want to join in, grab a microphone, but currently he's miles away.
Just looking at porn.
And I want to know something that you're not looking forward to, and then something that you are looking forward to about the new season. You can take this in whichever direction you like. I really don't mind. Would anyone like to volunteer to go first with their Cleveland frown?
We've already talked enough about one of mine, which was the ongoing clusterfuck of the Texans.
Okay.
So
well,
we'll
maybe,
skip that.
maybe not you then. Paul, have you got one for us?
I'd actually like to start with something positive.
Go. Something positive. Right. A Woo England Yatriot.
I'm really looking forward to the rookie wideout class this year.
Okay. Devonta
Because
Smith, Jalen Waddle.
Therese Marshall,
Yep.
who I got mocked for mercilessly.
Whitney mercilessly.
Yeah, but who's looked fantastic in pre-season. I've seen amazing things coming out in the press around Elijah Moore at the Jets.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase,
Can't
yeah.
catch a ball, but he will be good.
I think last year when you see people like Justin Jefferson, as an example, there's wideouts who can come into this league and acclimatise very, very quickly. DK Metcalf's an example a few years back. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing the wideout class of this year's draft.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, there's a lot of star players come in. It'll be interesting to see which one of them in the best situation. I would say Tua with Waddle and Jalen Hurts with Smith. They are not necessarily two quarterbacks that you would want in the NFL to throw you open, to give you space to move. So I just wonder is Jamar Chase basically in the best position? Because Burrow to Chase is a pretty existing connection. And I would say of the three quarterbacks we just mentioned, Burrow is easily the best.
Hurts to Smith is an existing combination.
Yeah.
I think where you've got Parker in Miami, I think that helps. Tua's second year, which helps, and he got better as the season went on. He's had a full pre-season. Injury, the hip injury, they're saying is definitely not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the fact he's small and left-handed, there's still, you know, some people that aren't sure about that, but we'll wait and see. This is, you know, a big year for Tua. So
I think the fact that he's played with him before, your point around the left-handedness, it does make a difference. I remember reading about when Steve Young took over from Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, I almost forgot his name there. Jerry Rice was moaning. There was a massive difference between a quarterback with a right hand and a quarterback throwing you with a left hand. It changes everything in terms of catching the ball. So the fact that Waddle has played with Tua before, and the fact that he has got Devontae Parker and Will Fuller there for support and a good tight end
as well.
I think that will make a big difference. I agree with you, Paul. Elijah Moore's got loads of good press coming out of the New York Jets. I just worry the fact that it's coming out of the New York Jets.
I thought Wilson's look good as well. To be honest, there's a couple. I'm looking forward to the Patriots this season. Last season was a blip, and there was lots going on in regard to COVID. I think the league is better when you've got a competitive Patriots team. And Mac Jones, for all the bad press coming in, the reports on him have been phenomenal. He looked decent in pre-season. He's beat a former MVP in a quarterback battle. I know there's other things about it that was spoken about last week, but they've got a lot of players coming back. They've bought a lot of players in on free agency. I'm really looking forward to that division because every team is competitive. Maybe not the Jets, but every other team is competitive.
I think Matt Jones is in the best possible place out of all the rookie quarterbacks. He's got the biggest chance to make it to the Super Bowl. Not saying he will, I'm just saying he's got the biggest chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots were competing.
Yeah, I mean,
looking over to the Patriots supporter.
I'm obviously biased. I think it's great news that Mac Jones is being given a clear runway to start. It might be a year too early to say that he can compete with the Bills, who are clearly the best team in the division. But you have now got a division with, theoretically, 4 quarterbacks who could be facing each other twice a year for the next 10 years. And they are all young, first or second year quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think you're forgetting Zach Wilson is at the Jets.
Yeah. And of the new quarterbacks most likely to fail, he tops my list because he's with an organisation where his talent might not be enough to overcome the organisation.
I like Salah, though. I've got a lot of time for Robert Salah. I don't know 2 other people at this table do.
It's the organisation. It's a bit like Trevor Lawrence at the Jags. It's like, really, is his talent going to be enough? And if you look at the two, if you look at Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence easily the better quarterback of the two. So if one of those two is likely to succeed in a bad franchise, it's more likely to be Trevor Lawrence.
You're comparing ice cream to horse manure.
I quite like horse manure ice cream. What's the point? Nay.
I think my hope with the Jets is that Joe Douglas, the GM. No, I think there generally is. Joe Douglas, the GM, he came from a really good background. I say it at the Eagles before the Eagles turned turgid as well.
Could use a turgid.
Yeah. So he's gone through his second off season now. He's built up I think a really good offense. The defense looks really suspect for the Jets.
You've got CJ Mosley coming back, who's a huge addition.
That's literally all they've got.
Yeah.
But what a player, though.
Oh, yeah, he's brilliant. But that's all they've got.
If he could play all the positions, they would be amazing.
I mean, their cornerback depth is terrible.
I couldn't name you one.
Quickly, before we move on to other Cleveland Browns and Woo England Yatriots, that does not roll off the tongue as well as I don't.
That's the reason why I suggested it.
5 first-round quarterbacks. Historically speaking, only one of them will be a star. 3 of them will fail, and 1 will be in the league for 10 years and never actually have a winning season. Which one bottoms out soonest, and which one is the star?
I don't know if that's going to happen. You take the 6 of 2018 or 2017, wasn't it? The Mayfield number 1 class. Sorry if I forget the year.
Yeah,
18.
All of them bar Rosen.
I'm talking over time. We haven't got time. We haven't had time yet. I'm talking over 5 to 7 years. Rosen's already gone.
Nice.
Rosen's already gone. Lamar Jackson is one badly timed run away from an RG3-esque career.
Yeah, but he's still there.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying.
And
I'm saying over
MVP.
time. So looking 5 years into the future, which one of these has Rosened out of the league? Which one has blossomed to the top of the pile, and the other 3?
So I'd say Fields. Lance may well be the best.
Okay.
And I think, I don't want to say it, but I think Trey Lance, I'm not convinced yet. So I have taken him in my Dynasty League because I want to believe. But
Makes you feel better. I'm nailing my colours to the Zach Wilson will fail mast.
Yeah.
I think Fields is going to be so good.
I think Fields might fail, not because he's a bad player, but because of where he is.
Do you think
Completely
he's a
agree.
bit like Carson Wentz, might have to move to another team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you all. He's a great player. I didn't when he was drafted by the Bears. It was a bit.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right, did it?
I think they've got a year to build around him in terms of Allen Robinson's probably going to go because he's on a franchise tag. They need to bring in wide receivers. They seem to have got a ton of tight ends, but I'm not sure which one is good or if any of them are good.
Cole
I
Kmet.
think don't get me wrong, the Bears have got some issues, but the Bears still made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Because they had a great defense.
With Trubisky,
Yeah.
So
And Foles.
I do, and Foles, but the point is, I think there's more opportunity at that franchise. I think we're being a bit harsh on the Bears at times. And yeah, they might not. The coach might be an issue. They might have made some poor decisions, but they're not as broken as the Jets or the Jags.
Agreed.
It's just I hate them. That's the
I
problem.
get that, but we can't be silly about it.
I think that's a fair point.
And Fields, if Trubisky and Foles can drag them to the playoffs, then in 2 or 3 years' time, with some better decisions and some better drafting, and maybe a new head coach, then
Regular playoffs.
Fields could be in a very different position. That's all.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
Mr. Biscuit was given a hard time. That's what they called him in college, wasn't it?
Yeah, it- I also agree with that. I think
Well, is he
he's
anywhere now?
Yeah, he's the backup to Josh Allen at the Bills, which is perfect for a year. But next year, I think he's got a very good chance of starting somewhere because I don't think he's washed up. I just think he was misused at the Bears. He's not the sort of player they actually needed. So
The Jameis Winston approach.
maybe, but
Yeah.
with less.
He's getting LASIK this season.
Right. Okay. Moving on from that.
Do you want my Cleveland frown?
Yeah. Go on.
It's having to. I mean, I'm thinking about it already. Having to listen to so many more Brady stats. It's already making me slightly depressed. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to take it for. So that's definitely. I've had enough. Like, well done. He's been a great player, but I can't take too many more years of it. And then my New England. No,
Woo England Yatriot.
my positive thought, because I'm not getting involved in this
I think the Buffalo
craziness.
Frills might be better, actually.
They are like the Buffalo Frills. That one would have worked.
Paul,
Sorry,
you've
Paul.
been usurped. Buffalo Thrills.
I said the Kansas Reliefs.
Wasn't that what Robert Kraft went
got
for?
done. And that for me is just going to be seeing the fans back.
Yeah.
Seeing the crazy antics they get up to, being able to watch the fan fight videos on YouTube is one of my favourite hobbies. Seeing somebody get twatted. So I'm just, I can't wait to see fans back.
I want to see some Bills fans going through tables.
Honestly, the fan fights, they're one of my favourite things to just search on YouTube.
I'll jump in with a Buffalo thrill of my own. I'm really looking forward to watching two quarterbacks this season. Aaron Rodgers on his I don't like it here, but I'm just going to win to prove you all wrong tour.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And Dak Prescott on the remember how good I was at the start of last season before I got crushed tour. I think don't forget that the wideouts at the Cowboys are phenomenal.
Yes.
If they keep Dak upright, and let's not forget no Zach Martin for week 1, but if he stays upright and he has recovered from the injuries, what makes you think he won't just get off? He was on for a league-topping season of yards and touchdowns. Like, he was brilliant in the first 4 games last year, and then they went to hell in a handbasket as soon as he was out. But what's to stop him picking up where he left off
The Cowboys defense.
Yeah, and I get that, but we did all pick.
last year?
Well,
No, I
two
didn't.
of us picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And they've got Surtain, haven't they?
No.
No, which one did they
Broncos.
pick up?
Parsons.
Parsons, and he looks amazing. He
Yeah.
looks really good.
I'm really looking forward to watching Dak, and like I say, I'm really looking forward to watching Rodgers because I think he could win it all this season, and he'd still say, "Screw you guys, I'm off." I really do, and that would be an amazing story. Mic drop. John's indicating the phrase "mic drop."
Charades on a podcast. are
Drop it,
brilliant.
Mike. Jesus.
Charades on a podcast always good. I'm not sure whether this qualifies as a frown or not, but I'll go for it. It's got to be Big Ben's last season, right? Like, he's another one of the
Yeah.
storied quarterbacks that we've been privileged to watch, regardless of your feelings on Big Ben. He's been one of the cluster of 9 or 10 that we've had for 10 or 12 years plus that have been league defining. And it's got to be over, right? Well, we saw it with Peyton Manning. He had half a season where he went off a cliff, and then the following year he wasn't even up on the top to fall off again. It could be the same for Big Ben after 2 or 3 games of the season.
Manning won the Super Bowl.
Just going to say, he won the Super Bowl.
He got carried there by Broncos defence and Brock Osweiler. Let's not forget that.
Oh, and, Sanders, Thomas.
And CJ Anderson.
Don't forget, Manning only threw 7 touchdowns that season and 15 picks.
But you're also forgetting CJ Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, he isn't with the Steelers. They could probably do with him right now. But did you just did you just pray to the heavens for Thousand Road Russia Super Bowl winning CJ Anderson?
I did, yeah.
Excellent work. Well, he's not dead. He's just out of the league.
He's dead to me. When he's not in the league, he's dead to me.
Well,
when he's not in the playoffs, he's dead to me.
I think for me, it's we lost Philip Rivers last year.
Good.
I'm just saying, for me, it's another one out of that generation that we all grew up with.
Breeze.
I was going to say Breeze
Drew
as well.
Brees, yeah, absolutely.
I think there's only 2 left. It's Roethlisberger and Brady out of that older generation.
Brady will still be playing in 5 years.
Because out of that older generation, you can't include Rivers in there because all the rest of them won a Super Bowl. Rivers didn't. I'm not getting back into
they're all Hall of Fame quarterbers.
No.
I absolutely am not getting into this with you on today's show, but later in the season we will have this debate again. We'll get Nat Coombs back on and he will put you in your place.
He didn't last time.
But he will this time because I'm paying him.
Okay.
Right, anybody else got a frown for me? I'd like a frown, please.
COVID.
Somebody had to bring up the C word.
You wanted a frown? There's going to be issues one way or another.
Of course there are.
That was the only frown I had. I've got another frill, though.
Go on.
I've got 2 frills.
Yeah?
3
Lucky
frills,
you. Is it your birthday?
I know.
Is he for listening?
More football. There are 17 games in the regular season this year. Most there's ever been. I'm looking forward to another week of football because it's a week less that we have to live without.
Is there not a risk with that?
Yeah, I think I know what Gary's going to say, and I'm with him.
Once everything's decided, there's just more dead rubbers.
Yep.
But it's
And I know it might not be, but
it might not be.
Gonna look like a
and actually,
discarded
I haven't
condom
even looked
party.
at whether I need to change the playoff fantasy settings for that, but I probably don't.
I'm
but
sure
I
they've
could
done it
do.
for you.
No, they don't. But I just wonder if you've got teams like the Chiefs.
Yeah, there could be more dead rubbers, but there could be more cliffhangers as well.
I see it as a positive because it's giving more players league time in games that could matter, in games that they actually get to play a proper defense.
I also think, like with the extended playoff system, it could. There's only one bye, right?
Are you just happy that you get to do an extra podcast?
Yeah.
Is that really what it comes
An extra
down
podcast,
to?
an extra
feels-
extra week of football.
Like I said, when
maybe
they
an extra
extended
week
the-
of fantasy
The
as well.
playoff, it feels to me like more watering down. Like you're going to get games where there just aren't that many good players on the field because they've all been injured or they're being rested for the playoffs. Or I'm not a fan.
There's more chance for surprises.
Yeah,
And that's what I like. The playoffs is...
one more week of red zone.
Yes.
What's not like about that?
I just want to stare at Scott Hansen's face. Is that all right?
I don't know. I'm not a fan, but
Right, other Buffalo Frills. The 49ers being healthy and going into week 1 for the first time ever.
What are you doing to me? Why are you even talking about?
It's healthy now.
Yeah, but it's healthy now in GMT 21:21 in 2021
Anyway,
on the 7th of
I'm happy
September.
about that.
You speak to me in a week and we'll be fucked, mate. Like,
Are you going to buy that many shirts then?
53.
The other one I want to chat, I think Baker Mayfield is going to have his best year statistically. And I'm looking forward to
that's a
seeing.
thrill for you.
That's a thrill
No,
for me.
that-
Baker's stats
It's
going
a
to
frill.
turn me on.
The Browns are a frill for me
Yeah.
with this as well because that roster is phenomenal.
It's the first time that he's had the same offensive coordinator and head coach for 2 years running.
Yep.
So he's got years' experience. Amazing defense, great weapons, great offensive line. His accuracy last year was brilliant. He went 2 months without throwing an interception last year, which
yeah.
We've all got a hard on for the roster at the Browns, right?
Yep.
But none of us picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
no,
I wasn't asked for my opinion.
you were, you just didn't feel it.
You didn't bother. Paul,
No,
who do you think might win the Super Bowl?
Not the Browns.
I don't.
Just to
think
clarify,
I
have
don't
you
think-
got a hard on?
This is why I'm sitting on the low chair tonight.
There's probably 28 teams that I think aren't going to win the Super Bowl. Doesn't mean that they're not going to play well. I think the Browns get into the playoffs again. I think they have another deep run. I think the first game up in week 1 is going to be one of the most interesting for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Baker's always going to be one of them players that can just turn the other way for a couple of games. Always. Yes, he's really good to watch. It's just I don't think it takes much to put him off, and so it makes him interesting
on
to
the
watch,
weeks he's put off. He's got a fantastic running game to lean on.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't ever feel like I can watch him with any certainty.
Is there any quarterback you can watch with certainty?
Yes, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen,
Tom Brady.
I don't think you can watch Josh Allen. with
Aaron
any
Rodgers.
Well, see, I think that's the difference between Baker
Alex
Mayfield
Smith.
and Josh Allen.
I mean, to be fair,
Alex
Ryan
Smith.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You know with certainty he's not going to pass the ball more than 7 yards.
You also know with certainty he won't walk off the field.
There's Ryan Fitzpatrick. You are certain it's uncertain.
Certain it's entertaining, but you don't know why. Right. Any more before we move on? John's joining in.
Can I have a thrill? I'm really looking forward to a second year for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean,
John's even grown his hair to look as similar as possible.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that's a great shout. I think statistically there's a very good chance he regresses in terms of numbers because people have now had a chance to get a read on him. But I think he will still be excellent.
But there's Rashawn Slater this year, and that's a key difference for me.
Yeah.
He's also he's got a new coach who can possibly run a clock better.
Not make poor decisions in the last 30 seconds of a game. Hopefully.
Wasn't a lot of pressure on him last year, was there? Because the season was pretty much done by the time he came into the
It
team.
was only week 4.
Yeah.
That's how bad the Chargers were.
But there was lack of expectation on that team last year, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Once he came in,
He wasn't supposed to play at all last year, really. So, yeah, I mean,
I think it'll be interesting.
I agree. And my final one is I'm waiting to see which team has to sign Cam. Because somebody will sign him when their lead quarterback goes down.
I don't think they will.
I don't think
No?
they will either, no.
I think they will.
There's been lots of rumours about
Who's on that free agent market that you could
No,
sign?
I'm not saying that he's not the best. He's probably not the best quarterback on the free agent market at the moment. But there's been lots of rumours. But everyone's worried about his fitness, his lack of arm strength after his injuries, but also the COVID status.
What did he do last year that makes you go, I must go and get Cam if he's available?
Nothing after he caught COVID. In the first 4 weeks, he was number 4 passing quarterback in the league.
He was all right. He wasn't amazing.
I'm just telling you
go
what
and
it says.
you go and pick up Trubisky, don't you? Mariota.
Yeah, I know there's players, but I'm saying free agent wise, we've seen it in the past. Every year, in the first week or two, a team's lead quarterback goes down, and the first number you're going to get to at the moment is Cam because he's available for nothing.
The other thing that's going to be really interesting is Darnold got any hope of an NFL career left as well? That's going to be really interesting.
You remember earlier on when Paul was saying about that quarterback class from 2018, and he said only Rosen has failed. That's not true. Darnold has failed, and
Still a starting quarterback.
he's still a starting quarterback. But
No, you can't say he's failed of that dumpster fire of the Jets.
has he been a success?
Well, but that's
Yes or no? Has he been a success?
before you start the race. Let me cut your legs off. Why aren't you winning the race?
He did see ghosts.
I'd see Ghost with that O-line.
In the Paralympics, he'd be awesome. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying that I said Zach Wilson probably isn't going to succeed because the franchise is bad, and that's exactly the same position Darnold's in. Not a lot has changed. Really.
He's got a second chance. It's you can't you don't know if he's
He,
gonna be good
as
or
a
not.
person, isn't a failure, but his career at the Jets was a failure.
Yeah,
Oh, I agree with you.
And I could see Trevor
He's
Lawrence
not
going the
5
same
years
way at
in
the
yet,
Jets.
Griff.
No,
Your thing was
no.
5 years, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need to wait and see. But
I think he'll be better at the Panthers than he was at the Jets.
I think the thing was, a lot of us, well, especially myself and maybe Jim as well, we both thought Darnold was the best in that class. And it will be interesting to see, because I do think the Panthers are a well-run organisation now. They're still building up from what they were when the new ownership took over.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to do things in the right way. McCaffrey's obviously going to be back. We need to see what is going to happen with him. But in terms of Darnold having a chance at a good, solid organisation, this is his chance. And I think that would be really interesting to watch, because he was the youngest of that class as well. He's still only like 24.
23.
24, yeah.
So
yeah.
I think it'll just be interesting to watch. I hadn't really kind of thought about it as a thrill or anything, but
I
I'm
really
interested
hope
in it.
that it works out for him. My fear with the Panthers, if you like, is that they've replaced Teddy Bridgewater, league average, middle of the road Teddy Bridgewater, with Sam Darnold, who's very similar.
Do you know what Teddy Bridgewater's passing accuracy was last year?
78%.
70 something.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, but he was only throwing 5 yards at a time.
That's what. But when you've got the
No,
scheme,
no,
when you got
so
a
it's-
scheme that works,
And it was the Alex Smith thing.
Yeah.
It works, and it'll be the same with Darnold. That's what I think.
But Darnold's ceiling is way higher than
Yes,
Teddy's.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you
agree.
can start him off and build his confidence with, those kind of easy plays.
And he's got a lot of weapons around him.
Then before
some of them
you
he
know
knows.
it, by weeks 5, 6, 7, he might be a totally different player. I think it'll just be interesting to watch.
I agree. Yeah. Fair enough. Right.
Royce Freeman's on the Panthers. Sorry.
Royce Freeman's on a squad.
Yeah, he's just showed up
Where's,
on the Panthers depth chart.
Where's Kiki Kuti these days?
Still at Texans.
Is he? I thought he got cut.
Did he?
He did get cut the other day.
Might be on the practice squad or something.
I think you need to look that up while we prepare to move on. So,
I'm not letting anybody move on until we know the answer to this.
we can't just tread water. Well, we are now treading water for Kiki Kuti.
Well, he's not on the Texans anymore.
He got cut the other day. I
cut,
did
Paul.
text it into the group. He got cut. After Will Greer, your other famous fantasy draft.
He's signed, doesn't he?
He's back on the practice.
He's a backup.
at
He's
Cowboys.
Dak's backup.
He's a backup at the Cowboys.
He's third, isn't he? At
Yeah.
the Cowboys, he's not the backup.
He's the backup.
Can't believe we're talking
He's the
about
He's the backup to the backup.
Cooper Rice is the backup.
He's at the Colts now.
Kiki Kuti at the Colts. Oh,
Jim, that'd
mate.
be great. That'd be great for him.
Well, yeah, because he's the number 2 receiver on that depth chart behind Pittman because T.Y.'s out.
Yeah.
So, fair enough.
I'd rather have him than Paris
Well,
Campbell.
Good choice to take Pittman in fantasy, you see.
Oh, what you did. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Moving on. Week 1 is here. We have 2 sleeps to go. I know. 2 sleeps to go because that's how kids measure Christmas, right? I've heard. 2 sleeps to go. Not just kids, adults as well, but kids. The first game of the season, defending Super Bowl champions Bucks taking on the Cowboys. The Cowboys, as we mentioned, know Zach Martin to keep Dak away from that phenomenal pass rush at the Bucks, which has got to be a concern. But
Yeah, we didn't mention that.
well, we mentioned that Zach Martin was out.
We did.
Did we? Yeah, we did.
What was I doing?
Christ, Jim, you are getting old, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hey, never mind. That's what 3 kids will do to you.
Zach Martin's out.
I know, I told you.
It's Tuesday. How much of a chance have the Cowboys got of winning this game in percentage? 30%?
20.
0%.
6% from
gonna go 10.
from behind the screen. 10%
Where is it? At Tampa?
Tampa.
at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, 20%.
Yeah, I'm obviously highest on this just because anything can happen, but I think it has to be disregarded in the Cowboys season because I think the Bucks are one of the best teams. So you shouldn't judge the Cowboys on this one game, and it's the worst possible game to be losing your star O lineman. But I do think it's important how Dak plays, which is what I was getting to earlier. Like he needs to show that he's fit and able to propel the ball against a very good defensive unit.
I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. The Bucks were slow starters last year. We've got to remember that as well. I
They
know
won't be this year.
I know it was COVID impacted and lots of new players and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously,
They'll be
it's
out
the
the gate
first
this year.
time since 1995 since all 22 starters from the Super Bowl have returned to a team for the next season. So
And all their coaches.
so they all know what they're doing, don't they? So they know what they're trying to achieve. So I don't think you can judge. I think we see it in the league all the time, and we normally sit here after 2 or 3 games and go, we can't see the shape of the league yet.
No.
And it takes till kind of games 5 and 6 to see the shape of how teams are performing. Loads of teams end up going 1 and 3 and then still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's when it gets to 1 and 4, 2 and 5, it starts to get difficult.
Which team then is this a bigger game for? Is it more important for the Bucks to say we really are in this for another run, or is it bigger for the Cowboys to show that last year was a bit of an aberration in the end?
I don't think you could say it's for either because it's one of these things where this is win-win for the Cowboys. Because if they win, great. You beat the Super Bowl champions. If you lose, everybody expected you to anyway.
I think due to the fact that Cowboys have had a dog-awful pre-season and are carrying like no confidence into this whatsoever, then they...
Dog awful? Do you mean God awful?
No, dog-awful. Like dog shit awful.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, fine.
Yeah, that's a saying. Look it up. Well, I think I've made it up if it's not.
You God make a mistake.
Yeah. So Jim's actually looking it up.
It does seem to be a saying.
Yeah.
I've never heard
There
that.
you go. So
Jim's also mystified. I can tell by the look on his
yeah,
face.
it
Just
is.
looking at the pictures that came up.
Some awful dogs. Some really awful dogs. Type dog awful into Google and amuse yourself for hours. That one looks like a goat.
So yeah, because of
Fair
that,
enough.
I think they need the confidence.
All right, quick verbal show of hands around the table. Anyone think the Cowboys will win?
Not a chance.
No.
No. So all in on the Bucks for that one. Jim, what's the next game up on the schedule, please?
The actual next game on the schedule, or Do you want the
Take
game,
it in.
the game that I am looking forward to?
Take it in whichever way you like. Who would you like to have been watching on Sunday night?
I'm not going to steal Gary's because I did my homework. I am looking forward to the Dolphins at Patriots. Last two starting quarterbacks for Alabama going head to head. I am excited to see what Mac Jones does. I want to believe that Tua's good. I'm yet to be convinced, and I've got a feeling the Dolphins could take a step backwards this year. I think we've seen 2 years of progression from them. I think with the Patriots being back and now a lot more pressure on the Dolphins, and I'm not convinced of what they've done in the offseason, I'm not convinced by their ground game, I think the Dolphins are going to take a step back this year again, unfortunately.
Will it be a case of the Dolphins taking a step back or the Patriots recovering some ground? Which of the two is actually how it is?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's the case. One of those two teams is likely to miss the playoffs, and I would say you'd always give the edge to Belichick.
I'm going with the Dolphins to win this game.
Okay.
Because there's been a lot of change in New England. You've got a new quarterback coming in, whereas you've got that time for Tua. I think the Dolphins would win this one, but if you played this week 15, the Patriots would win.
Yeah, I think the Patriots will win this game pretty easily, actually.
Don't sound too depressed about it, though.
Well, I don't think these teams don't really like playing each other. The home team tends to win. They're playing such different conditions and environments. They don't really travel well to each other. So I would say their heads-to-head is primarily favoured against the home team. So Patriots will win this game and start with a winning record.
Okay, Gary, and which game are you most looking forward to in week one?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it, that it's got to be...
As he's scrolling through because he didn't do his homework.
Eagles-Falcons. literally one of the worst games going. I think there's a couple. I think you've got Steelers-Bills and Browns-Chiefs. I think they're both great games. So Browns-Chiefs is the one you want to see. That's going to be a hell of a game.
I would suggest the Browns have a fair chance of winning.
I'm more interested to see how well the Chiefs have recovered from the disappointment and are they going to come out and show that they are really the best team in football?
Do we believe they're the best team in football? I don't think they're the best team.
They're the best team in football.
I think the Browns have got a better squad. I think the Bucks have got a better squad. They've got the best player in football. I don't think they're the best team in football.
I don't know. Do they have the most difference makers? Do they have the most game winners? And yes, it is about the whole team. But then if you've got excellence at certain positions, does that make a big enough difference? That's why it's interesting. What kind of statement are they going to come and put down? And the Browns, it's again, a chance for them to go up against tough opposition and say, we're taking this season seriously. So I think that'll be really interesting. That could be a very high-scoring game.
Yeah, it was the Browns in the playoffs that pretty much destroyed the Chiefs O-line and injured Mahomes.
Yep.
And I'm really excited to see Myles Garrett have another crack at that. And it's a new offensive line for the Chiefs, pretty much all offensive line.
4 out of 5.
Yeah. So
you've got Dr. Devani Tardif coming back, haven't you?
You have, yeah. But you've also got Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney.
If both teams scored over 30 points, you'd say the Chiefs will win it.
Yes.
So it will be interesting to see if the Browns' defense are as good as we think they are and whether they can hold the Chiefs to, say, 24 points. That will be... If they do that, then they've put a real benchmark down around how they're going to go about this season.
I know we will put a prediction for all the things over the season together, but another verbal show of hands around the table. Those who think the Browns will win,
Me.
That's me, and that's Griff. And
I'm
Paul.
going Chiefs.
I am also going to go Chiefs, but I think it's going to be really close.
John, do you want to lean in and
Chase!
He couldn't be asked to move. Brilliant. There's only 4 mics at this table is the problem, and John's been barred from joining in this week.
The literal third one.
Sorry, what was the second game you mentioned? Steelers Bills.
Yes.
Bills Steelers.
Yeah.
I think that's a walkover for the Bills. I honestly do. I don't think the Steelers are ready. I'm not sure they're going to be as good as everyone thinks. I think it's a walkover for the Bills. If I'm honest, could be a 12-point game.
I don't know. I'm not.
John's shaking his head. Jim's not said anything, which means he's pondering.
They were really great until the last few games of the season. And I know that's how it ended for them. But they were really good at the start of last year.
Yeah, still a good defense. still got an experienced quarterback who can get rid of the ball quickly. They've got all their wide receivers back. The offensive line is the biggest issue for Pittsburgh, I think. But the Bills' pass rush isn't.
No, it's
brilliant.
not great. No.
So the Bills have a couple of weaknesses, don't they? Their pass rush,
and their
running game.
Yeah,
not their running game, but their running backs. Yeah, like I say.
Running backs, yeah.
I think this is one the Bills win, but I don't think it's a walkover.
You get to see Najee Harris as well. Is he going to be? Is he going to be that?
I think he'll be good, but I think the O-line will seriously hamper him.
I think he's going to be wonderful. Yeah. I really do.
You want to hope so.
I think he's going to be fantastic.
I agree.
They're going to lean on him a lot. You look at the work they put through James Conner last season. It's going to be more than that.
I think we're also forgetting that the Steelers still have their head coach, who is one of the best in the league and gets good results out of absolute dross.
Griff absolutely hates Mike Tomlin, do you?
No. He's a cheerleader.
Half the time you want him gone.
No, that's not true.
I thought he was a cheerleader.
I'm sure you've called for his head at times.
Even if he is a cheerleader, that's what they need right now.
What I said was he's a rah-rah coach rather than a tactical coach.
Well, he's spitting half the time, isn't he? Because he's just angry.
And getting in the way and tripping players up on the sideline. No, I'm just saying, I think he...
To be fair, you called for Sean Payton's head previously as well.
I did as well.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one on this podcast, and I maintain that at the time he was on a hot seat. But no, I've never called for Tomlin's head. I just don't think he's a tactical coach. He's more of a build the players up. But the problem is that can very quickly go off the rails, and you don't have a backup plan. There is no plan B. It's we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And that's why I think sometimes they don't quite deliver. So I don't think that's unfair criticism. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame coach. I'm just saying, he's won Super... We look for holes in things. He won his first Super Bowl with someone else's team, Bill Cowher's team, and he won his second Super Bowl off a really great performance by one of the best quarterbacks.
He's only won a second one.
He's only won the one.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Bill Cowher was the coach for the first one.
He got to a second Super Bowl team. It was beaten by Green Bay.
So I don't know. He's a Hall of Fame coach. I just don't think he's a tactical coach, and I think that can be easily picked apart.
He's a players coach. He's obviously very good at managing people. Like you look at some of the personalities they've had in that dressing room, and there have been the odd one or two things, but the lack of ongoing issues in that dressing room. I'm talking about Antonio Brown,
Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant.
Yeah,
don't forget him. Remember him? He was good.
Even Ben Roethlisberger to an extent as well. Yeah. So he's brilliant at managing players, and maybe he's not the best tactical coach, but he gets a lot more out of average players than some other coaches do.
Agreed. I'm certainly not hypercritical. I just think it's a different approach. That's fair. I'm excited for a very poor matchup. All this hype. I cannot wait to see Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence fall on their ass and lose to the Texans with T-Mobile.
Do you know what? When me and Jim went to the football at Wembley the other day, we were discussing yours and John's obsession with Urban Meyer.
He's going to suck.
You guys have got some issues you need to work through, so we got to wait and see, haven't we?
Poor John isn't in a position to defend himself, but I'll take it on the chin.
Look, the guy has clearly got some behavioural issues. I'm not sure he's someone I want to go for a pint with or anything, but
John.
No, not John.
That's John.
He gets results, doesn't he? He has got results through his entire career. And I know it's college versus the NFL, but you just don't know that yet. And I think you've got to wait and see.
Yeah, okay. That's perfectly fine. I don't get the hype about Urban Meyer. Like, he hasn't done anything yet, and it's a different sport.
He's done quite a lot.
3 college championships.
Yeah, but he's done nothing.
2 different teams.
Yeah, but his name is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
That's nothing to do with it. It's for analogy. Owen Morgan's one of the best white ball cricket players we've ever seen, but in Test cricket he sucks. And it's the same as going from college football to NFL. It's a different game. So
it's not that different.
Don't tell me that Urban Meyer's just going to be a success just because he's won in college.
There are many college coaches that have won, and there are many that have
failed.
So I don't think you can say just because he's coming from college he's gonna be an instant.
And anyway, John and I's beef with this was that if you're going to have the best generational quarterback, you should have got an experienced coach to help build a team around him, not a rookie quarterback and a rookie coach.
No, I see. You've got somebody who's come in from college, and you're bringing in somebody who's got a college mentality. You're kind of giving him some sense of continuity, not this massive change. I think Urban Meyer is going to be okay. There's going to be worse teams than that team by far.
And I honestly don't see them losing to the Texans.
That's my upset, if you like.
The fixture computer, or
Yeah.
whatever they want to call it,
Yeah.
has shone down brightly
Yeah.
on the Jaguars and their terribly run franchise.
Given how much you both hate Urban Meyer, who would you rather have, Urban Meyer or David Culley?
Christ, that is not a choice, is it?
Oh, Urban Meyer's better than Doug Moron.
Is he?
Yes.
Doug Moron won a lot of games in the NFL for the Bills,
Okay.
but he couldn't win at the Jags. Not many. I'm just saying, it's a bad organisation, rookie quarterback, rookie coach. For me, the Jags, why would you think they're just going to be good?
I know
Over or under 6 wins this
I
season?
don't think any of us said they would be. I think we just said we need to wait and see.
Yeah.
17-game season, over or under 6 wins?
We just said we want to wait and see.
Yeah.
And you're asking us to make decisions.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
am.
nice.
I'm asking.
Under.
Yeah, John's with me. I reckon 5 tops.
I think they're going to win 7 just to spite you.
Do you know who was
I
a
think they're
great?
going to win 6 on the dot.
Do you know who was a great college coach? Chip Kelly. Where's Chip Kelly these days?
Oh, yeah.
Coaching in college.
Yeah, did he win a championship?
Chip Kelly offense. They even still talk about Chip
Yeah.
Kelly offense.
I don't know whether he won college championships. What I'm saying is he was the next big thing, and he
didn't win
lasted
3.
3 seasons.
Do you know who else is a good college coach? Pete Carroll.
Yeah, and the first time round, he was turd in the NFL.
But he's also won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and
he
got
has
another
now.
team to another
So
Super Bowl.
when Urban Meyer comes back in 15 years, I'll cheer for him.
Bill Walsh was a pretty decent college coach.
He
as
was
well.
a very good college coach. And it doesn't apply to everyone. I'm just saying.
Nick Saban's a great college
30
coach.
years ago.
Just saying.
So I think you guys are being unnecessarily harsh about Urban Meyer. I agree with Jim and Gary. And I
You
know
slagged off his name.
his name is ridiculous. I stick with that. And the rural Meyer meme has made me laugh many times. And please share it to our Twitter page.
Okay, let's get back on track here. Packers Saints. What do we think?
Packers win that.
I don't think who wins is important. What I think is what do we see out of
normally
Jameis
quite
Winston?
important.
What do we see out of Jameis Winston? Because we said it didn't matter if the Cowboys
What's
don't
really
win.
important
the
is
important
what
word is
Jameis
see.
can see.
That's the important word. C. LASIK Jameis is an unknown quantity.
Also, who's he throwing to?
He's now got the sight of an owl.
Antonio Callaway,
Callaway. Yeah.
Marquez Callaway.
The Packers.
Kamara, hopefully.
I think the Saints team are going to surprise people this season.
Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, and Deontay Harris.
If
That's
anyone,
their starting wide receiver.
if anyone can scheme some stuff up, it's Sean Payton.
I think it's a bigger test for Sean Payton than it is Jameis Winston
Drew Brees was throwing 5,000 yards to nobodies.
and Michael Thomas.
Okay. Yeah. All right, he could throw a slant route for 10 yards, all right? But this Saints team will surprise people.
They have got the best O-line, one of the best O-lines in football.
Yeah, they do.
I think, and one of the best running backs in football as well. So I think that benefits them. Their defense is also still good as well.
Take away the 30 interceptions in a season. That guy was a number 1 overall pick for a reason.
I was on the way here. I was listening to Nat Coombs' podcast, and he said if you just reduce those interceptions by
50%.
30%,
Yeah.
how many of those games in his last season with Tampa would he have actually won?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous, like another 6
Yeah.
games.
So the
Like,
fact
they'd
is,
have had a
he's still
13-win season.
through 30 touchdowns and 5,000 yards with a wonky eye.
Now he's got clear sight. He's got the sight of an owl. He can see everything. He has full peripheral vision, 360.
I think he can still be a very good winning quarterback in this league, but I agree it'll have to be with the right coach. So, Sean Payton, over to you. Do we all think the Packers are winning this game? Is anyone picking the Saints?
I'll pick the Saints just to be the negative voice.
I'll pick the Packers, and I think we've got to remember as well this game's being played in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's true. It's not at the Saints because there was a
Because of the
hurricane.
hurricane.
Remember that hurricane that
Hurricane
took
Ida.
all the electricity out? Where have you been?
Great place to live, New Orleans, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great food.
Yeah.
I'd like to pick a game.
Yes, please do.
I'd like to pick the Chargers versus the Washington football team. That's a game to see where these two teams are. The Washington football team, I've been reading reports, I've been looking, I've been doing research. And apparently they're based in Landover, Maryland. No,
This is Wikipedia. Have you literally just been on Wikipedia?
I've done some. I've been looking up, and people are. There's been some really good press how they're going to be sneakily good this season.
Well, they've got a good defense, haven't they?
They got Ron Rivera. You've got Chase
Probably-
Young. You've got
probably the best defensive line in the league.
the wideout room's got
I dunno.
better.
Versus ours.
Certainly up there.
And I also think the Chargers were with Justin Herbert. There's a lot of confidence coming in. You've got a brand new head coach. You've got some confidence that comes from that.
Eckler's not injured yet.
Exactly. This is a game where you'll see two teams wanting to put a marker on, and I think it'll be a really interesting game to watch. If you're putting a gun to my head, the Chargers will win.
Anyone else taking the Chargers? John from behind the glass.
Where's it being played? Oh, it's in Washington.
I will take football team.
Yeah, I'll take football team.
Yeah, at home football team with a
Football
stupid
team.
with a stupid name.
Football team.
I need to get on and sort that
Please
name out.
change that, yeah.
That's grown on me.
No, it's stupid. It's
I don't
so
like
bad.
it. I don't like it.
So bad. It's not got the spirit of the NFL.
I think
Also,
I
the
agree with
logo,
that.
The logo's just a big yellow W. And it just looks wrong in the line.
If they're not going to pick Red Pandas, then I think they should stick with football team because Washington Red Pandas is still my favourite choice. But they've poo-pooed
Just
that.
call it the Washington Reds.
Yeah,
The Reds. Just call it the Reds.
it's too close. They won't do it. It's too close. That's the same reason they've said nothing Warrior-based because it's too close.
Just anything apart from football team.
I can't wait till the Kansas Chiefs become the Kansas Chefs.
Oh, wow. Anyone else want to dive in with a fixture that they think is a must-watch in Week 1?
Oh, it's not must watch. I'm not mentioning it.
Well, go on. Who are we going to...
I was going to talk about the Vikings at Bengals.
Oh, can we not?
My God, that could be a dumpster fire of a game. That is a no middle ground game.
Yeah.
It's either going to be turgid or it's going to be an
Amazing.
offensive explosion. It's going to be 58 points to 10 or something ridiculous.
Is turgid the new shit the bed? Because there's been at least 6 turgids
We've
today.
said turgid quite a bit. Yeah.
This game is going to shit the bed, Jim.
I just want to see if Joe Burrow's fit.
He's not going to play, is he, Week 1?
Yeah. He's
Wow.
slated to start.
He's slated to start
That's a really bad idea.
because he was having a great year last year.
Earlier on, when we were doing our frowns, I didn't mention it because I didn't want to keep tying up the mic, but I had what chance Burrow and Lawrence both survive Week 1.
That'll happen.
Oh, Lawrence will.
I think the scary part of the Bengals is Zach Taylor's having to stand up because the seat's so hot.
I agree.
Well, he was my prediction to get fired first, wasn't he?
Yep, I completely agree. The Google form I was sent that I couldn't fill in because it wasn't done correctly.
Everyone else managed, is all I'm saying.
Well,
User error.
I'm not everyone else.
You're certainly not. Was your carer not available to help you? How is the wife?
She's very well.
Good.
Is Clara.
Oh, very good.
That's good.
Very good.
Who are the Giants playing? You know, as I support
And
them.
Broncos.
It doesn't matter. You're going to lose.
No, we'll beat the Broncos. The Broncos are turgid.
Anyone else at the table think the Giants are winning that? Not a hope in hell.
We
Oh,
will
I
beat
wouldn't
them.
go that far.
Close.
Yeah.
Really?
Be close until Saquon gets injured.
I think if you look at our offense,
Your offense is good.
No, it's not. It's got Daniel Jones right in the
Yeah,
middle
that's
of
the
it.
problem.
Golladay, first round receiver,
Yep.
Shepard,
They'll all look great waving at the ball.
Barkley.
Kadarius Toney,
It's
rookie.
the quarterback that's the problem. You've
Yeah,
whiffed.
but that's exactly the same as the Broncos.
We've got
No,
Teddy
they've
is
got
a
Teddy.
much better
Daniel
quarterback.
Jones is going to become the new Dalton. He's going to be the league average.
He's not.
He's not.
He's
not
going
that good.
to become the new bad Eli Manning.
He's going to be the new Blaine Gabbert. And he'll be out of the league in 2 or 3 years. He'll be a backup at
He'll be out
best.
of the league next year.
He's not good.
This is the first true test of him. I think first season he came in. Last year was COVID, and I think COVID kind of ruined everything. This is the true test of him.
And he'll fail.
He's got Saquon back.
Yeah,
He's got a
week.
great wideout room.
he does.
Slightly dodgy offensive line, though.
But if you've got Golladay, I think Golladay's an amazing addition. I don't know why that hasn't got more
Yeah,
press.
agreed. Probably because he's being thrown to by Daniel Jones. He is
and
the
he does
problem.
tend to get injured as well.
I don't see any hope for the Giants. I think if it wasn't for the fact the Eagles are going to be so bad, you'd be bottom of that division.
I'm going to nail my flag to the mast now. The Giants are going to win that division.
No way.
And all of you will prove me wrong and give me £5.
Football team, Eagles and Cowboys. The Giants are going to win that division.
Yes, comfortably.
What we putting on as a wager on this? £5, 5 whole pounds. Because if we are, I will take you on that.
I'm happy. I realise this can't be seen. I will shake your hand now and go £5 against you. The Giants will win that division.
That's definitely not happening. You've got no chance.
Winning the division is not just getting into playoffs.
No, he's saying winning the division.
Winning the
Jim,
division.
do the fist pump.
A team did win that division with a losing record last year.
Take him on that.
I'm going to take on that as well. I can't see it happening, mate.
Gary,
Sorry.
take him on it.
Oh, absolutely.
John, it's your team. Take your brother on that.
Take your brother's money, John. Take your brother's money.
I've got a hope.
I think
I will say it is a garbage division, and I think the Cowboys have Dak back, but they haven't lost their head coach. That's the most important thing
True.
for
The
them.
Cowboys cannot be as bad again. They cannot be.
They can.
The defense can
Their
be.
defense hasn't got.
The defense hasn't improved.
Micah Parsons is, doesn't make a defense, and
The head
football
coach is
team have added Fitzpatrick, and you're going to get boom. You get the bust.
Yeah.
I think it's a garbage division. I think the Giants can quite easily win that division.
and Joe
And I don't think you need to win 8 games to win it.
Joe Judge getting a full year, a full pre-season, full off-season.
A whole year out of Daniel Jones.
I think this is going to be a really interesting year.
Also, we had a sneakily brilliant defense, and I think the game against the Broncos is 2 brilliant defenses against 2 completely average quarterbacks.
And if I was taking one of those quarterbacks, I'd take Teddy every week, without fail. So if that's the defining
I agree
thing,
with you. The Giants will win that game,
And
the
in
Giants
the
will win
Valley
the
of the
division.
Blind, the one-eyed man is king. But,
True.
It's
if the
Should
Giants
we rename that division the Championship Division?
if the Giants signed Teddy Bridgewater, I'd say you've got a better chance of winning that division. That's what I think the difference is.
You are all going to look back on this moment in 18 weeks' time and think, my God, Paul was right here.
We won't. We'll all be looking back on that thinking, what can I buy for £5? Right, moving on, because there's
Good thing I work for an institution where I can pay you in pence.
clank as a
Probably
bag of
foreign
change.
money.
Yeah, probably. Anything else that stands out from week 1? I've got one more. I'm looking forward to see the additions at the Rams against the Bears. I want to see Matthew Stafford. I want to see Sonny Michel. I want to see what Sean McVay does with a much better quarterback, running back position. I think you picked Gary. You picked Stafford as an MVP candidate, and
Yep.
I absolutely think that could be spot on. I expect the Rams to win this against the Bears fairly comfortably. I don't think that's not necessarily denigrating the Bears. I just think the Rams are back to being a stellar team if this works out.
Yeah, I've seen that there's been some other people over in the States as well now starting to get on the Rams bandwagon a little bit that I've started. And, well, none of you lot started it, did you? So,
No, but I agreed with you last week.
And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Stafford fits into that, how that changes the way McVay sets the plays up, how far he comes away from the running game, because you've got stellar wide receivers that we know are very good in like PPR leagues, Woods and Cup. Both, they get a lot of targets, don't they? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I think they need to win games like this because that division is so difficult as well. So they need to start well. They need to make sure they beat opposition like the Bears because they've got tough schedules, every single team in that league.
Yeah, I'd say it's hardest division there is. I believe so. Thank you, Paul. Anyone else for any more on week 1's games? No.
I think you guys were unfair to the Cardinals last week.
Hey, I think I said they were okay, didn't I?
I think they're going to be better than people think this season.
I don't think it'll matter. They're still the worst team in that division.
No.
Go on.
I bet you all each £1 English pound.
I'm not so confident this time.
I'm not a fool.
Yeah, go on.
I'd like to bet you all £1 English pound that the Cardinals do not finish bottom of that division.
Who do you think are the Seahawks then?
I just think the Cardinals won't finish bottom. That's
Oh,
all I'm
you
giving
You
you.
need to give us a
I'm
bit
not
more than
taking
that.
because I agree with you. I mean, you've hinted at it, but I said it. The Seahawks could be the worst team. In
But
that
we say
division.
that every year and they
Yeah, that's
sneak into
why.
the playoffs.
But that's why I wouldn't pick them.
This year
Because
I'm
they still
going
have
with
Russell
it.
Wilson.
Yeah.
This year I'm going with it. The Cardinals won't finish bottom.
Well, I'm pleased for your opinion. I'm not going to give you any more money.
I will mull that one over, and after week 1, I'll make you a decision, and I'll take you up on your bet.
No, it's now or never.
Okay, I'll take that. The Cardinals will finish bottom of that division. All right, there you go. That's £1. So currently I'm £4 up. Excellent work. I'm pleased with my day. This is fine. I've been £4 up since before I got divorced. It's amazing.
We can make this a gambling podcast now.
Right. Quickly then, transitioning, because the Rams is a good place to get into this. We did our fantasy drafts over the weekend, so we'll quickly have a round table about our fantasy drafts. Jim and I have been at a strange loggerhead where we both wanted to make trades, but he knows I want Cooper Kupp. He knows I've got Robert Woods, but I'm not doing a straight swap for two players that are more or less going to cancel each other out this season. He just wants George Kittle off my roster, and it's not happening.
I'm happy with Cooper Kupp, to be fair.
Yeah, as you should be.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got his college roommate there anymore.
Who was that?
Goff,
Goff.
wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
There was always this connection between them both, wasn't there, that they kept hinting about and talking about. I don't know if that's
You're
going
right.
to be the same with Stafford.
Now he's got a better quarterback.
He's got a better quarterback. That's all that a wide receiver
but
needs.
not necessarily a quarterback that's going to look to target him and look for him being open and being used to him being open.
That's it. We're going to see. We're going to see. Who knows? So, anyone want to... Paul, that's disgusting. I can't even describe that for people who are listening. It's safe to say receiver and open were the key words there. Anyone pleased or otherwise with their fantasy draft?
I'm delighted.
Well,
Say, isn't everyone pleased at this time of the season?
Surely everybody does what I do and looks at it and goes, oh, bugger.
How the hell did I get Mike Evans so late? The man is a 1,000-yard receiver every year.
Yeah, I think it's just because there's so much competition at the Bucks now that people go, you can only spread it around so much.
You've got
But there was-
Godwin, Evans.
But there was
Antonio
last
Brown,
season and he still
Gronkowski.
got 1,000
Yeah,
yards.
but Brown was only there at the end of the season last year. There's reasons why his stock has fallen slightly, in a PPR league. If he doesn't get as many receptions, obviously it's going to cause you a bit of a problem. I think my issue when I look back at both of my drafts really is that it was so difficult to try and balance, fill in, for example, a good 2 wide receiver core, then a tight end, and then also making sure you've got a good stable of running backs.
Yeah, picking
it
up
was
the
really
leftover
difficult.
running backs.
And the running backs, after, certainly after RB2, it was really difficult. So this year I've gone with a much higher volume of wide receivers just because I'm planning to mainly use wide receivers in that flex role because I just don't think there's enough depth or enough confidence at running back this year. But it does make me feel very nervous that if I get a couple of injuries, I'm in trouble. So I don't feel great.
Yeah, which is the reason I went 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. Because I think I spent most of last year trying to find a running back or 2 to put in my team because I had one and then I had just big holes all over the place. So this year I'm like, across every fancy team league I play in, I've gone running back first, second, third.
Yeah, I mean, the running back dearth is an issue for... Really? I said dearth, not girth. You're such a child. It is an issue.
Eddie Lacy.
Yes, the running back girth. That's him. What a great nickname that would have been. Here comes the girth. That was the problem for everyone. I think we agreed that after the top 10 or 12 receivers, there's another 20 or 30 who are much of a muchness, and you just stick a dart in the board and see who you get. And somehow I've still done worse at that than everyone else. But
You've got Mixon and Cook.
Yeah, Mixon.
running backs, I've done okay. But what I'm saying at wide receiver, I'm always thin. I just don't do a good job. But yes, everyone is happy. 3 weeks into the season, that's when it gets shaken up. Isn't it? That's when John's taking all the top waivers and starts winning the league. He's very good at that, isn't he? Sneaking in.
Got time.
If you
Time and
if you haven't been and picked up Le'Veon
So
Bell,
does everyone else.
if you haven't been and picked up Le'Veon Bell like John has, you should go and do that because he will be on a roster, PPR or otherwise. But PPR, he will be valuable, I think. Anyone got anything else they want to add?
I was pleased this year because I like I always do something stupid.
I bank on
You
it.
drafted a kicker in the 7th round.
I got the best kicker on the board. I thought that was clever.
It was, fair enough. That was your only daft move this year, wasn't it?
I don't think that was daft.
Not comparative, no.
I was pleased this year that there is such a wide selection of wideouts. Last year I took a gamble on Justin Jefferson, and my God, that paid off. So I was really pleased to get Devonta Smith and Elijah Moore.
Yeah, that's fair. I think.
Can I also mention that the NFL draft recaps are absolutely turgid.
Oh, the ones that get sent out to your email.
Yeah, they've shit the bed, quite frankly.
So basically, what it seems they definitely go versus kind of average draft pick and rank, and they look at those,
Chase's rank.
They look at those things and go, right, well, where do you rank versus the rest of the league in terms of those? And it basically just works off a very simple algorithm like that. So it just, it's not real, is it? It's a bit of a laugh when it comes through. Like I say, every year I get an A or an A plus, and I've never won one yet against you fuckers. So it's a bit of a laugh to have a chat about, but it's funny when you get someone with 0-14 like we had with Andy this time. So
is that what he got?
Andy got an 0-14. Yeah.
That's what happens.
That
when
was
you
still
don't
only a
auto
C
pick.
though. We only got a C for
Yeah,
that.
that's what happens when you don't auto pick. A C. Jesus. Well, we know it's dog shit because I got predicted to win in the Dynasty League, and there's more chance of the Cardinals not finishing bottom.
If you
should. You had the first pick last year,
And the second pick this year.
and the second pick this year, where you had, because you got.
But I'm terrible at
Mahomes,
fantasy football.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, I am terrible.
But also, you're predicted to finish in a similar place to me in both leagues.
Yes,
We got the same predictions of the grade, and
Yep.
I'm just behind you in Dynasty.
I'd be delighted to have you just behind me.
That's right.
Anything else you want to mention before we sign off? I'm going to take the silence as a no. It's been wonderful to have you back, Paul. I hope you'll be here again soon. Or especially here. This is your house. You should be here.
I live here.
Yeah, this would be a good place for you to be. Thank you, everyone else. And we'll be back again next week to review actual games. Hooray! Woo, woo, woo. Night all.